While Thanos might be the most well-known and famous for wielding the Infinity Gauntlet, heroes have also attempted to brandish this weapon in the past. Some with heroic intentions and some with perhaps even more villainous intentions than Thanos himself. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. This is Top 10 Nerd and I am your host, Amanda McKnight. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 superheroes who have held the Infinity Gauntlet. Join me and let's get counting. Is it this hand or is it this hand? I don't know, is Thanos left-handed or right-handed? That's the question. Number 10. Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer gains the power of the Infinity Gauntlet in a what-if story from the 1989 series featured in issue 49 of that series. What if Silver Surfer possessed the Infinity Gauntlet? Well, he would obviously try to use the power for good. He ends up being lifted up into godhood because he wields such awesome power and attempts to turn the universe into a paradise, eradicating hunger and disease for all races across the cosmos. Also, fun fact, did you know that back in the day when you had the Infinity Gauntlet you were considered a god and that was like part of the story? That was the thing. Silver Surfer also makes death a more approachable hot lady, so that when people die they will not fear her but cherish her instead. I mean, I personally think Death was already hot before, but I guess now she's more hot, so that's great. In the end, unfortunately, even Silver Surfer becomes corrupted by the Gauntlet's power. However, our heroes have a solution for that and introduce Shala Bal, Norrin Radd's lost love, into the mix. She manages to be able to level with Norrin and even convinces him to renounce the power, saving the world with this final sacrifice. And her final sacrifice too, because they're both like, okay, well, we're just gonna die now, bye. Number 9. Nebula. Nebula is a complicated character. She's not really a full-on villain and she's not really a full-on hero, but I feel like her portrayal by Karen Gillan in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy series has helped us to see her more as a villain worth redeeming and moving more into the realm of hero than anything else. And in honor of that, I'm going to count her as such for the purpose of this list. One of the last times I was reading a sort of hero Nebula story was when she teamed up with Thane, Star Fox or Eros if you will, and Trico Slatteris, the champion of the universe, to seemingly defeat Thanos. In reality, Thane was using them for his own means, and when Nebula found this out, she attempted to defeat Thane herself. In the comics, she was one of the characters to get her hands on the Infinity Gauntlet during the events of the Infinity Gauntlet story. She ended up being the really big bad when she took the gauntlet from Thanos and then had to be defeated thereafter. At that time, Nebula was pretty much a villain, so yeah. But like I said, we can kind of consider her a hero, so she was a villain at the time, but she's still a hero. Does that make sense? I'm counting it, whatever. It's my list. I decide who stays. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more lists like this where we talk about who's wielding the Infinity Gauntlet and what they did with it, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. I personally would love to see like an alternate Thanos Infinity Gauntlet list as well. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if we have enough alternate Thanoses for that list, but I think it would be cool if we could do it. Number 8. Deadpool. Surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly if you're familiar with the character, Deadpool also has wielded the Infinity Gauntlet before. In this case, he ended up getting it from Thanos when he pulled a bait and switch, swapping out the real gauntlet with a fake. Deadpool then planned to use the gauntlet to roast the Marvel Universe, but instead got celebrity roasted himself by host Howard the Duck and a slew of other heroes, villains, friends, allies, and even lovers. In the end, however, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall to do some roasting of the audience and ultimately returns the gauntlet to its rightful owner. Thanos, of course. What did you think? He was gonna give it to someone else and save the day? This is still Deadpool we're talking about. Also, I'm pretty sure the issue this story comes from, issue 45 of Jerry Dugan's Deadpool run from 2013, is also where the Thanos copter originated. Either way, if you're a fan of Thanos copter, it is in there too. Thanos copter. Thanos is flying around in it. Number 7. Gamora. Gamora ended up using the Infinity Gem's combined power to fold the universe in half, creating Warp World in the comics. Warp World contained only combined Marvel characters who were all composed of two different souls, like Emma Frost and Wolverine, who were combined together to create Diamond Patch, or Weapon Hex, a combination of Laura Kinney aka X-23 and Scarlet Witch. Technically, Gamora didn't use a gauntlet specifically to do this, but she did utilize the power of all the gems, which makes it, I think, close enough for her to rank here. At the time, what she was doing was, well, pretty villainous. But Gamora in general is considered to be a hero, in modern comics especially. Well, when she's not stealing gems and folding the universe in half, of course, which is also from modern comics. To check out this story, you'd want to check out Infinity Wars, so go do that, because Warp World is cool. Number 6. Black Panther. T'Challa was the one to use the Infinity Gauntlet against God Emperor Doom on his own created version of Battleworld. Doom's created version of Battleworld, not T'Challa's, just to be clear. This reality was a patchwork one created by Doom after the inevitable destruction of the incursions. Doom faced T'Challa and Namor, the former of which also came wielding the Infinity Gauntlet. While initially T'Challa succeeded in defeating Doom, he inevitably regenerated and then destroyed the Infinity Gauntlet in turn. However, while Doom beat Black Panther even with the Infinity Gauntlet, it was then revealed that this had all been a part of a master plan and was intended only to distract Doom, which evidently had pretty much worked. God Emperor Doom was so OP though. RIP God Emperor Doom. Doom's still around though, so I wonder if he remembers that. No, he probably doesn't remember that. I think it all got wiped. He just remembered that he killed his arch nemesis, and he was like, I'm happy now. Also, I'm not scarred. Number 5. Mr. Fantastic. Reed Richards aimed to wield the Infinity Gauntlet, collecting the gems and assembling them all with the intention to destroy them and prevent anyone else from gaining their dangerous level of power. He used his own group of banded together heroes to find the gems and collect them. Unfortunately, his plan did not work, and he had the secret superhero Brainiac group, the Illuminati, instead become the protectors of the gems, which were then split up. Each one of them was given one to hide in the universe so that the gauntlet could never be reassembled and used against them. Of course, this didn't end up being a permanent solution to that problem because these are the Infinity Gems, and no matter which way you slice it or split these gems up, they're eventually going to be used again by someone in the future to do some kind of good or ill. Usually though they're used for ill. So yeah. And no matter how hard you try to hide those Infinity Gems, people go and find them. Number 4. Hulk. Obviously one of the heroes we can't leave out considering how mighty he is and how important his time with the Gauntlet was in the MCU is the Hulk. The Hulk wore the Infinity Gauntlet and was the one to use it to bring everyone back in the MCU. If you were wondering how a big, not super intelligent berserker like the Hulk managed this feat, managed to stay focused, this was actually during the time in the MCU where Hulk was more in balance with Bruce Banner. The two beings were more merged at this point and basically became Professor Hulk. Hulk wore the gauntlet in the MCU during Avengers Endgame and used it to bring back everyone that had been snapped out of existence, undoing what Thanos had done in the previous film, Avengers Infinity War. In the comics, in the Ultimate Universe of Earth 1610, the alternate Hulk of that Earth also wielded the Infinity Gauntlet, or rather the Infinity Gauntlets, as in that universe there's 2 of them. But that's a story for another list. Number 3. Iron Man. Someone that has been immortalized when it comes to his use of the Infinity Gauntlet, or Iron Gauntlet if you rather, in the MCU is Iron Man. Iron Man snapped past Thanos and his army out of existence, which resulted in the heroes winning the day in Avengers Endgame. Thanos returned to try and set straight what the heroes were trying to fix in their universe, which was his plan to eliminate half the population. Hulk had successfully snapped back those who had been killed off by Thanos' initial snap, but now Tony Stark was fighting to save the world against a past Thanos who had followed them there to once again follow through with his future self's and really his own self's plan. In using the gauntlet, however, Tony gave up his life as it was so powerful a weapon that using it killed him. Also, he kinda had to like put it in his suit, and I don't know if his suit was properly wired for all that power. This made Iron Man one of the greatest heroes eternally, but not one of the greatest Eternals, because that's a whole different group of heroes. Tony has also briefly wielded the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics, but it went quite a bit differently for him in comparison. Once again, a story for another list. Number 2. Captain America. Captain America actually also wore the gauntlet, in the comics at least. He attempted to use the gauntlet to keep Earth 616 safe during the incursions. This was a dangerous time in the comics when basically different realities were colliding and thereby destroying one another. Captain America attempted to use the power of the Infinity Gauntlet to push away the impending Earth and help prevent their collision. However, he failed in his attempt, and instead all of the stones on the gauntlet were seemingly destroyed except for the Time Stone. Probably one of the most useful stones too when you think about it in terms of like getting the other Infinity Gems back at some point. I feel like there's gonna be someone that's gonna be like, you're calling them gems and stones. What is it, Amanda? Look, they're stones I'm pretty sure in the movies, they're gems in the comics. Gems, stones, it's all the same thing. They're rocks. They're infinity rocks, that's what we should call them. Number 1. Adam Warlock. Probably one of the most famous people to wield the gauntlet when it comes to comic book heroes from Marvel, hero is Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock is often seen as a sometimes ally, sometimes opponent to Thanos, and in this case, he was kinda both. He ended up initially joining the heroes during the events of the Infinity Gauntlet in an attempt to defeat Thanos in the comics. However, they failed. When Nebula, who was known only as Thanos' granddaughter at that time, usurped Thanos, taking the power for herself, Thanos and Adam Warlock decided to team up to put a stop to her. This is when Adam Warlock got his hand on the Gauntlet. However, after ascending and becoming a god thanks to the Gauntlet's power, as I said that used to be a thing, he was instructed by the Living Tribunal and convinced to basically disassemble the Gauntlet, hiding the gems with those that he trusted to protect them, one of which remaining with him, the Soul Stone. And I'm pretty sure Adam just held on to that and was like, now I have the power of the Soul Stone. As if he wasn't powerful enough already. Jeez, Adam, you're already so powerful. Which heroes would you most want to see wield the Infinity Gauntlet? If you had the Infinity Gauntlet, what would you use it for? Which hero do you think most deserves to wield it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you as always to stay nerdy, YouTube.